Right, good morning, welcome back. Now today on the Honda CB1300, a nice basic service procedure, we're going to change the oil in the forks. Now just quickly, fork oil is very much like brake fluid. It's not changed on mileage, it's a periodic, and it's approximately every 2 years you change the fork oil. Now with this particular bike, I've gone through the service history with a fine-tooth comb and there is no evidence in there at any point of any fork oil being changed. So I am only to assume that in 22 years it's never been changed. It probably has. It does show in the service history that a few services have been done by the owner, as you'd expect for a 20-year-old bike. So let's just do it anyway to give ourselves a level playing field, and definitely it will improve the handling for sure. Right, always first job, taking my guard off. Next thing, take the brake calipers off the discs and suspend them up out of the way. Now if the caliper's a little bit reluctant to slide off the back of the disc, just give it a wiggle that way and that will push the pads back very slightly and give you the room you need. Next, release the pinch bolts at the bottom of the fork leg on the right hand side first. Just back them out so there's no tension on them at all. No need to actually remove them. Just support the wheel. Right, 22mm socket. Now we remove the bolt that's screwed into the end of the axle. I'll show you what I mean. And that bolt comes all the way out. Now undo the pinch bolts at the bottom of the left fork leg and draw the axle out. Same as the other side, just back them out so they're completely free. And with a screwdriver that fits through the hole in the end of the axle, just use it as a T-bar and wiggle it out. Now as you draw the axle out, be really careful that the spacers don't fall out and tumble away, because then you can lose the orientation of the spacers and the order of them if there's more than one, and then it gets confusing to put it back together. So make sure they stay there, and then you can take a note of where they go for reassembly. Right, spacers haven't moved, so while you know where they go, observe it, make a note, and then take it out. Remember the orientation and lay it on its back on the bench. How about this for remembering what order and what orientation the spacers go? As they are there, you know exactly where they're supposed to go. So pick them up. That one goes on first, then that one goes on like that, and the bolt goes in the end, which will keep them in place. Then when you reassemble everything, you won't get it wrong. Right, now I'm just going to put this table jack under the exhaust pipes. It's not to jack the bike up. The bike's on the main stand and it's held down at the back with straps. I'm putting this under the pipes for secondary support for safety. Never jack on your exhaust pipes, obviously. Right, like I said, we're not jacking it, we're not putting any weight on it, we're just taking up the space and touching the exhaust. So if something happens, if a strap snaps at the back, it's not going to fall on me. Right, next we loosen the 2 pinch bolts in the bottom yoke and the single pinch bolt in the top yoke, and we drop the fork leg out. But I want to loosen that top nut on the fork leg first whilst it's held in the forks. Great way to do it. And we're going to have to loosen the top pinch bolt to allow that top cap to move. With any pinch bolt, just back it right out so it's completely slack. Right, next I'm going to use these, and I have to explain this every time I use them. These are smooth jaw wrench pliers. They're not pipe grips, they don't have any teeth in there whatsoever, and they're absolutely parallel. And they grip as you close them together. So you put those on the soft and vulnerable fork cap, nice and straight, and the more you grip it, as you turn, it tightens up on it so they don't slip and they won't damage them. Now it's important to use these the right way around for whether you're doing up or undoing, and in this case as we're undoing, we put them that way around so that pulling on that to undo it actually closes the jaws and therefore squeezes tighter, preventing it from slipping. Here we are. We're just looking to break the tension and loosen them about half a turn. Now we can drop the forks out. Be ready to catch the fork leg, because sometimes you can crack that final bolt and they literally drop out the bottom. Some do, some don't. Yeah. And again, they can literally just drop straight out and go bang on the floor, so always be ready to catch it. There it goes. And get yourself a good centimetre or so of the cap showing. You'll feel it go quite loose. And then just like a champagne cork, just undo it with a towel over it, and when it jumps out it won't smack you in the forehead. Right, cartridge fork in this occasion there. Now you can either go the full hog and take out all of the contents, strip the cartridge forks down as if you're going to do fork seals, and then dry everything and do it ultra perfect. But if all you're doing is changing the oil, you don't need to do any of that. Literally, once it's open, tip the oil out and let it drain. You're only doing an oil change, nothing more. Right, there we go for the other side. Back off the preload. There. Right, there we are. Got all the old oil out. Now all that's left is to top them up with fresh oil. That's it. Perfect. That's it. Right, there we are. Now that's a fork oil change. Okay, I always get, when I do these videos, people saying, oh, but you should pull them apart and dry all the internals and polish them with the axe butter. Fantastic, you go ahead and do that to your bike. But if it's a periodic fork oil service, that's all you need to do. Take the cap off, drain it out, let it drain. I got nearly all of the oil out and put the correct amount of oil back in. Job done. That's all you're doing. You're servicing the oil. Don't get excited about it. If you went to a garage and you paid them to do the job, you'd be a little bit cross if you got the bill and it was for a half a day's work to polish all the internals. Not necessary. It's just an oil service on the forks and it's roughly every 2 years. Right, now obviously at this stage in the job you just chuck the forks back in, nip them all up nice and straight, put the wheel back in, brake calipers, mud guards and go for a test ride. Excellent. But this is a project and I've got a little bit more to do on the front end that involves the forks being out. I've got some repair work to do, I've got an upgrade on the handlebars, and all of it is easier if I leave them at the side and I put them back in when the time's right. So that's it. We'll start all that fun stuff in the next video, customizing the front end. Right, here's a thought to finish on. You know when you get a brand new tyre fitted to your bike, you leave the tyre shop and you feel that instantaneous improvement in handling. The bike feels golden. It just glides from lock to lock, suddenly a lot better than it was because you've become accustomed to the worn out tyre. You've accommodated its deficiencies over the thousands of miles it's taken to wear out and become a little bit awkward. But when you get that brand new tyre, it's suddenly, instantly handling better. Well, it's pretty much the same with fork oil. You do it roughly every 2 years. You're not really going to notice your forks or the handling and the front suspension is any worse because it's such a gradual deterioration in handling. You don't really notice it and you just naturally acclimatise to it. But once you put the new oil in, I guarantee you this, you put them in the bike, you go for a ride, you'll feel an instant improvement in your front suspension. So on that basis alone, it's always worth doing. It's simple servicing, it doesn't cost much, and it doesn't take long. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.